KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton, and here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Vice President Kamala Harris is making history by delivering the commencement address at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point.
In the face of all these challenges, America plays a singular role of leadership.
The vice president became the first woman to deliver the commencement address at the Academy. This July will mark the 47th anniversary that women were first admitted to West Point. All the graduating cadets at Saturday's ceremony were commissioned as new second lieutenants in the U.S. Army. Taking a look back at this time in history, in 2001, 4 followers of terrorist mastermind Osama bin Laden were convicted in New York of a global conspiracy to murder Americans, including the 1998 bombings of 2 U.S. embassies in Africa that killed 224 people. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
If you're a late-night snacker, listen up. Buffalo Wild Wings created a menu of late-night food and drinks starting at $4, 10 till close, full of tasty apps and ice-cold beer to wash it all down. Limited time at participating locations. Offers, days, and times may vary. Drink responsibly. Void where prohibited. Tax and fees extra.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Denver Nuggets finally know who they're going to play in the NBA Finals. The Miami Heat finally got the win they needed to get there. A 19-point win last night in Boston in Game 7 gave the Heat the Eastern Conference title and sends them into the NBA Finals against the Nuggets. 28 points for Jimmy Butler, 26 for Khalid Martin. Game 1 for the Heat and Nuggets is Thursday night in Denver. The Chicago Bulls are privately telling sources that former UCLA star Lonzo Ball, the number 2 pick in the 2017 draft by the Lakers, may not be able to play again. Ball has had 3 surgeries on his left knee and is still not healthy. The 25-year-old Ball has not played since January 14th, 2022. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We begin top story with late breaking news.
Is it going to succeed, yes or no?
I think it's going to succeed. It's going to succeed.
Can you believe it?
Y'all did it.
KBLA Talk 1580 is about to celebrate its 2nd anniversary on Juneteenth, and no terrible twos around here. We couldn't be more excited about all the good news we'll be announcing soon, including the launch of some new shows to keep giving you more of what you've been looking for.
Come on!
Smart radio for smart people. Hey, it's our celebration, but you get all the gifts. We'll be giving away fresh merch, swag bags, and a chance for you to join the private invitation-only, star-studded music and dance till you drop, food and drink galore 2nd anniversary celebration. To stay in the know about the 2nd anniversary details, download the KBLA Talk 1580 app right now. Don't miss out on your chance to be a winner. At KBLA Talk 1580, when we come forward, we're bringing everybody with us.
Happy anniversary, KBLA! First things first.
First things first, it's the DU General, Money B. I'ma put you up on the schedule, 6 to 9, 8 weekdays, not 2 and 7. Let's go. We got a lot to talk about, so much to pedal through. Unapologetically progressive. Tune to KBLA 1580 to get the mess. We're your ancestors' favorite radio station. First black on talk radio, left side of the nation. Me and Dominique DePrima go way back. Tight, Smiley making sure the station stays black. Discussing all the issues in our community. We're hosted black and brown and others find unity. So let's talk about it. Maybe we can improve it. Digital underground, always down with the movement. So we tune in. The first things first with the queen of Black Talk Radio, Dominique DePrima. Go sis. First things first.
KBLA Talk 1580. Good morning. God bless. I'm Dominique DePrima. The show is called First Things First, and my first thing, giving thanks, giving praises, asking for blessings from God, asking for the blessings of the ancestors, the elders, the community. And let's go. It's a Tuesday that feels like a Monday. I hope you had a lovely Memorial Day. I did. Time off. giving thanks to all who have sacrificed, given their lives for this country, for Black liberation. All of the soldiers that we pay tribute to did that, and lay around. That's always good. Love to hear from you always. 800-920-1580. You know how we do it. Hour 1 is mostly Cali. It's local, left coast. Hour 2, it's west side. Hour 2, we do national, international, and beyond. And in the third hour, we do a deep dive with a person or persons of interest. You guys have been asking and asking to get Dr. Gerald Horne back on because we have deep and important questions that he is the scholarly voice to answer, and he is doing that today. In honor of Talking Point Tuesday, I will have my Republican friend, John Wood Jr., in studio. He's with Braver Angels, and we'll chop it up. You know how we do. Maybe a little fisticuffs, but it's all in the spirit of enlightenment, engagement, and information. And so now is a great time to call me, 800-920-1580. I love to start when I think of it, when I remember, with what is good. And, you know, today I'm feeling good about Dear Mama, the Tupac documentary. I don't know if you saw it. It's really an Afeni Shakur documentary, but it focuses a lot on Tupac. Did you watch it, Miles? Not yet? Oh, you're going to love it. Miles is you like Tupac, so you're going to love it. Love, love, love it. Allen Hughes did a great job. Seems like some kind of poetic justice in that, since him and Pac fought when Tupac was alive, and then he's delivered this really powerful documentary. And one of the things that I love about it, it's streaming on FX. I don't think I have FX, so I went and got it on Amazon Prime. But the thing I love about it is that it intertwines the history of the movement, the Black Panther Party, which his mother was a leader in, Afeni Shakur, and it intertwines that with the story of Pac from little kid all the way to the very end. Really great interviews with not just like rap artist people from Digital Underground. Shock G, Greg J, from Digital Underground, may he rest in peace, was very insightful in his comments, and also members of the party and of Pac's family. Really well done. It's important, I think, not just because it talks about Tupac and really illuminates about his life, and I'm not going to give a bunch of spoilers. I mean, it's historical fact, so they shouldn't be spoilers, but I knew the man, and I live in the Bay Area, and I was raised by activists, so probably more exposed to history of Panthers and others than many people. And there were a lot of things in there I did not know that were very interesting, illuminating puzzle pieces that were missing from the story. And as we face these attacks on our history from Republican medieval lawmakers who exist right now in 2023 in Virginia, Texas, of course, Florida, and really nationally, because these book banning committees, there's a bunch of them in California. Yes, a lot of them in California. As we face the intentional erasure of our history, both ancient and modern, it's really inspiring and encouraging to see people finding creative ways to tell those stories, to get that history across in ways that will probably permeate the young minds of this generation and the next, much more than whatever a teacher says in Rhonda Satan's classrooms, right? It's doing incredibly well. I think I saw that it was one of the most streamed documentaries ever, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check on that, but I believe it is, which means people are learning not just about Pac and the Bay Area music scene, but about history of the Black Panther Party, the real history. And that is priceless. So well done, Allen Hughes, and everyone that worked on it, and also, a lot of folks behind it. It's recommended. It will get you in a good mood. It'll make you cry, laugh, but also learn. And that's the best thing. And to me, it's almost like a call to action, because if we can't rely on our schools, which, if you think about it, we really haven't been able to do reliably. I went down to speak with teachers at my child's school in preschool. They were teaching about Christopher Columbus discovering America. I'm like, this has actually been debunked. Like, how are you still teaching little kids this? And so even though now we're seeing a more extreme form of attack, right, against Black studies, ethnic studies, Black History Month, even diversity, equity, and inclusion, which used to be the most sort of centrist, mild-mannered thing to say. No, they want to get rid of that too. I guess the blessing in that is that it becomes more obvious that we cannot rely on anyone else to pass on this history. And so when we have creative documentaries that a kid or even a grown person doesn't have to be forced to watch, because it incorporates elements of entertainment and popular culture with history, with actually reliable history, not made up ADOS history. That's important, because that is the antidote. In a way, it's like the Trojan horse that wins this battle for the minds of America, right? They don't want you to be woke. They want you to be what? What's the opposite of woke? I mean, you could say sleep, but it could also be zombie, right? And that's where I think we're going with this, is kind of zombie state, especially with the Satan making the remarks he made this weekend that he intends to end, or maybe it was Friday, end leftism in this country. Well, mass executions? I mean, what do you have in mind? I'd love to hear from you on this. And yeah, we got a lot to talk about. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
First things first with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Have you faced discrimination in Los Angeles? The City of LA Civil Rights Department can help. They investigate private sector discrimination in LA City in commerce, education, employment, and housing. If you're facing discrimination, submit a complaint online for free at laisforeveryone.com. That's laisforeveryone.com, or call 213-978-1845.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency on earth. And if you owe back taxes, the news isn't good. The IRS is raising the interest rate it charges on unpaid taxes, and further rate hikes are expected. Most people don't know it, but the IRS adds interest charges on your tax debt daily. So if you owe the IRS today, you will owe even more tomorrow. And it doesn't stop until you get right with the IRS. The good news is, getting right can start with one phone call to Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm. Optima's tax professionals specialize in the Fresh Start Initiative, a powerful IRS program that can save you thousands if you qualify. In fact, the experts at Optima Tax have resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients. Call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
We got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Tavis Smiley, inviting you to join me weekdays from 9 a.m. to 12 noon for conversations that matter. Every day I talk to influencers, content creators, trendsetters, change makers, and world beaters who are doing their part to make America a nation that will one day be as good as its promise. So be sure to join me, Tavis Smiley, weekdays 9 a.m. to 12 noon as we curate smart conversations for smart people just like you.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
The party of the summer is back. The Hollywood Bowl Jazz Festival returns on June 17th and 18th with an incredible lineup curated by Kamasi Washington and Herbie Hancock. See Kamasi himself, Belle Biv DeVoe, West Coast Get Down with Raphael Sadiq and Leon Bridges, St. Paul and the Broken Bones, Samara Joy, Diggable Planets, Poncho Sanchez, Aziza, The Soul Rebels with Big Frida, and many more. Hosted by Arsenio Hall. Get your tickets now at HollywoodBowl.com. Hollywood Bowl, forever summer.
Your ancestors' favorite radio station, and your favorite morning show host. Let's get back to Dominique DePrima right now.
And as always, you're invited in at 800-920-1580. So, man, why is it that we here in Cali have such a hard time taking care of our young people? Young people who get into the system, who need extra support. And by the system, I'm talking about both the juvenile halls and the child welfare system. It is, I know it's a nationwide problem, because how do you rehabilitate or discipline children, right? Even within homes that aren't foster homes. As you know, if you've been with me for a long time, I don't believe in corporal punishment. I don't think we should be spanking children. I think children should have consequences. I'm not saying free reign or whatever, but I think we need to get away from this punitive carceral model and move to what is discipline supposed to do for a child? It's supposed to teach them, right? That's the idea. You're supposed to be teaching them to do better, teaching them boundaries, life lessons. And, I know a lot of y'all don't agree with me, because I've been having this argument for more than 20 years with people before I even had kids, okay? But that is our model for everything. We say, why do we have so much gun violence? Look at our movies, look at our television, look at our culture. We, as a nation, and you guys know also that I'm a big proponent of the Second Amendment. Yes, I want to be able to carry my weapon, but I believe, well, I don't know about carrying it around, but have it, in my home or whatever. I believe that gun safety training, sensible gun control is one part of the equation. The other part is this weird cultural obsession we have. Got a problem in Ukraine? Send bombs. Lots and lots of bombs. We don't need food for our kids. Got a problem, with your community? Send in cops. Lots of cops with lots of guns. That's how we solve everything. So why are we surprised that there's a lot of shootings? That is the culture of the Wild West, which is, and by Wild West, I mean America. So I guess it's not surprising, but it just is distressing, because I would hope that we would do better with our kids. This month, a board ordered the County of Los Angeles to take almost 300 young people out of the juvenile halls at Sylmar and Boyle Heights by the end of July. The Board of State and Community Corrections declared the Barry Nidorf and Central Juvenile Halls unsuitable. That's one of those words that, kind of glides right by you. But think about what conditions those children must be living in for a state board of community and of Board of State and Community Corrections to decide it's unsuitable for children. I mean, just don't let the smooth word fool you. That means it's horrible. They should say, instead of unsuitable, they should say abusive. We already know that thousands of children who have been through the juvenile justice system in LA County have lawsuits against the county, or potential lawsuits that add up to $1 billion, right, over several decades. So now the county has 60 days to get all those young people, of all what young people who haven't been sentenced yet, the people that are children that are waiting for their sentences. And anyone that is familiar with things I talk about knows that I am very dead set against this idea of trying children as adults, incarcerating them with adults. They are not adults. Dogs are not cats. Children are not adults. Water is not sand. Like, you can call it that. You can say this is that, but it isn't. And if we're being woke, not zombies, we have to remember that, right? And I know it's not easy. I'm not sitting up here saying, oh, it's just so easy. They should just do this. No, I know it's not easy. I know some of those young people are extremely troubled. They got 2 months to get almost 300 children somewhere. They are saying that they're going to be possibly moving them over to Los Padrinos in Downey, which is reopening. That's ironic because I did a broadcast there many years ago with Eazy-E and some of the guys from the Brown side trying to bring peace. Of course, that it was many years ago because Eazy-E was alive. And so they said, no, the county saying we need more time so we can just move them to Los Padrinos. But the board said, no, you got till July. You cannot have extra time. And this is a recurring problem. I know some of it is staffing. They say they don't have the people they need to cover the children, but some of it has to be philosophical, right? In terms of how are we processing these young people? What is the goal? We've been through, I don't know how many probation directors, a bunch of them. The latest one, Guillermo Vieira Rosa, said he was, he agreed it's time to not use these facilities for young people who haven't even been sentenced yet, but what they call predisposition youth, but we still need more time. Okay, I got that. But we've been saying that for how long now? And the unions, the probation department unions saying none of what they're talking about is going to fix the problem. But of course, those unions haven't moved to fix the problem either. Meanwhile, the LA Times had another article over the weekend about how the Department of Children and Family Services is housing children in hotels. Think about this. In hotels with no supportive services. You're at the Biltmore. And some of these children, young people, are very troubled, right? They need supportive services. Why did we find out? Well, a couple of attacks where young people attacked the workers that were meant to be keeping an eye on them. One social worker with DCFS was supposed to be keeping track of a 16-year-old foster child, and apparently that child sexually assaulted her and beat her up, allegedly, in one of the rooms at the Biltmore. They had one lady there to watch this person who is clearly in need of supportive services. And because I guess we decided now we don't want to have group homes anymore, and they're not families that will accept many of the most critically troubled young people, they're putting them in hotels. I know these are two different systems, but they're related. It's how is the county dealing with young people in trouble, in crisis? How are we doing it? How do we do better? Apparently it's against the law for the foster care system, against state law, to keep kids in places like the Biltmore and some of these other hotels. I'm sure they're not advertising to guests. Lovely rooms adjacent to juvenile offenders, or in this case, that's what the young person was, who's also a foster youth. I just bring it up because I'm not saying I have the answer, but I feel like when we talk about a care first model and getting away from punishment as the only way we deal with folks in the system, that has to be doubled and tripled when we talk about children. And yes, the DCFS director, his name is Brandon Nichols, says that putting young people in hotels is a last resort if they can't find any place else for them. Doesn't want the children to be on the streets in tents. I get that. There are 18,000 foster youth in the DCFS. But because we wanted to get rid of the group home concept and get every child with a family, there are now fewer beds to put them in. And the only places that they can come up with are hotels. Well, I mean, I know this has fallen right in the lap of the LA County Board of Supervisors, and that is probably, I say probably because we have unhoused adults, that is probably one of the biggest, if not the biggest, challenges, right? How do we implement a care first model in houselessness, in the prisons? And I'm going to say, for me, the priority is the children, you know? And like I said, I'm not saying I have easy answers, but we're creative. We're activists. We're change makers. We have to do better. We have to find a way to do better. Yeah. It has to be a priority, and I don't want to just point the finger at the Board of Supervisors, although I know it's their job, because this is something that is the result of decades of neglect. It's not just something that pops up like a mushroom out of the ground, and now we say, whoever's in office now, fix it. Yeah, well, that is what we expect, but the problem, the challenge, the system has been in place for many years. And it reminds me, again, going back to when we did a tour, we did a couple of juvenile halls. We broadcast live from there. I seriously doubt we would be allowed to do that today. But at that time, the conditions weren't exactly amazing. The LA Lakers say, take your time, LeBron. Give you all the time you want to make up your mind. If he's really going to retire after 20 years, or if he was just mad after Lakers got swept. Rob Pelinka says LeBron James has earned the right to take his time and figure out what he wants to do. He also said that him and Coach Darvin Ham are going to be sitting down with James, meeting with his family, with his teammates, his management team. Sounds like a lot of begging to me, but hey, prayer works. So, I'm not mad at that. What else are they going to say? Oh, you get out of here. We're tired of you. You got a bad attitude. But I hope he stays. And, not that I'm an expert. I don't claim to be an expert, but I am an Angelino. And, I think because maybe not just because I just plugged back into basketball and it was fun and exciting, but also because it seems like if what everyone is saying is true, that the changes to the roster made all that difference, it'd be interesting to see what they could do next year if LeBron is still there. I'm just saying. Not that he listens to me. And, houselessness remains the huge, giant challenge for LA. And I outlined last week how we think of it. We say LA County is the houseless capital of the world, but it is spreading throughout the United States. So the lessons learned here in Cali are going to have to be exported across the nation. And we'll look at, how it's going here in LA, in the city of LA, when we come forward after news, traffic, and sports on KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominique when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton, and here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Vice President Kamala Harris is making history by delivering the commencement address at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point.
In the face of all these challenges, America plays a singular role of leadership.
The vice president became the first woman to deliver the commencement address at the Academy. This July will mark the 47th anniversary that women were first admitted to West Point. All the graduating cadets at Saturday's ceremony were commissioned as new second lieutenants in the U.S. Army. Taking a look back at this time in history, in 2001, 4 followers of terrorist mastermind Osama bin Laden were convicted in New York of a global conspiracy to murder Americans, including the 1998 bombings of 2 U.S. embassies in Africa that killed 224 people. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
If you're a late-night snacker, listen up. Buffalo Wild Wings created a menu of late-night food and drinks starting at $4, 10 till close, full of tasty apps and ice-cold beer to wash it all down. Limited time at participating locations. Offers, days, and times may vary. Drink responsibly. Void where prohibited. Tax and fees extra.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Denver Nuggets finally know who they're going to play in the NBA Finals. The Miami Heat finally got the win they needed to get there. A 19-point win last night in Boston in Game 7 gave the Heat the Eastern Conference title and sends them into the NBA Finals against the Nuggets. 28 points for Jimmy Butler, 26 for Khalid Martin. Game 1 for the Heat and Nuggets is Thursday night in Denver. The Chicago Bulls are privately telling sources that former UCLA star Lonzo Ball, the number 2 pick in the 2017 draft by the Lakers, may not be able to play again. Ball has had 3 surgeries on his left knee and is still not healthy. The 25-year-old Ball has not played since January 14, 2022. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
KBLA Talk 1580.
Follow the leader.
If you're not following KBLA Talk 1580 on all of our socials, then you're missing out. Download our app and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and on the web at KBLA 1580.
That's right.
Again, you can find all of our socials at KBLA 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
By the way, if you miss any of our weekday shows in real time, you can always catch up by checking out the podcast of your favorite shows at your leisure. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
Got your black.
Follow the leader.
Following the leader.
Oh my God.
Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader. Follow the leader.
Hey LA, keep your utility bills low this summer while making your home the cool place to be. LADWP can help you save hundreds with air conditioner and thermostat rebates, plus free energy efficient home upgrades and simple tips to help you beat the heat and save money. Visit ladwp.com/cool-LA. The pandemic may be over, but many Angelenos could be at risk of losing the place they call home. It's important to know your rights as a residential renter in the city of LA. Did you know eviction protection still exists for unpaid COVID-19 rental debt that was due before March 31st, 2023? And that you have 5 days to respond to an eviction notice, also known as an unlawful detainer. Learn more about your rental rights at housing.lacity.org. Be informed, be protected, be at home.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Maisha Cairo here for KBLA Talk 1580. We're live in Los Angeles at JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. And I'm speaking to some of the attendees today to see why it was so important for them to be here.
Yeah, this is Lathan and Tyler. Main reason that's very important for me to be here is just to leave a legacy for my kids. Black wealth, generational wealth is what we need in our community, you know. Oh, Chase, someone has to take the lead. They're showing, big business like Chase cares, and they're putting their money where their mouth is at. So it's good to see, big institution like Chase, giving a lifting hand, to the community. And, you got to respect that. It makes me want to bank with Chase and, give them, another look if I go to another institution. I actually see what Chase is doing for the community.
That's right. Chase is doing their part to help advance Black wealth. For more money support, tune in every day from 12 to 2 to KBLA Talk 1580's Midday Money Chain, right here.
I feel like KBLA Talk 1580 is pleased to partner with the Empowerment Congress, the Gathering Spot, the Institute for Nonviolence, and Days of Dialogue for a Juneteenth program called State of the Freed to educate fellow citizens about the significance of the holiday and efforts around reparations for descendants of slaves living in California. Program participants include California Reparations Task Force member Assemblyman Reginald Jones Sawyer and State Senator Steve Bradford, along with KBLA's own Dominique DePrima, Ariva Martin, Tavis Smiley, and many more. It all happens Saturday, June 10th, and you could be selected to attend this special invitation-only Juneteenth event along with Dominique, Ariva, and Tavis. All you have to do is go to the KBLA 1580 website, click on the Juneteenth State of the Freed icon on the homepage, and register to win entrance into this empowering affair. Or you can watch the live stream of this special Juneteenth event by going to www.empowermentcongress.org/Juneteenth. But head to the KBLA 1580 website right now for your chance to join us live on site Saturday, June 10th for the State of the Freed. This is a Juneteenth community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
I feel like
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
So I had a very cultural weekend. Well, Netflixy cultural, but not just that, because I like to lay around and watch movies. I am not going to lie, and documentaries. But we went to see A Soldier Story at the Ahmanson, downtown LA, and it was really, really good. I love to see us doing our thing. A Soldier's Play, of course, is famously made into the movie A Soldier Story. But obviously, this is a new production, and they've been touring the country. They're here in LA, I think the third weekend in June. Really great performances. I mean, just great performances. The play is by Charles Fuller. It's been around for a while, about 40 years, I think. But everything about it is great. I love the lighting. I mean, that's how good it was. The lighting, the set is amazing. It's directed by Kenny Leon, and the acting. If you haven't seen it, the acting, the music, it's not a musical per se, but it has music in it, is very effective. And this, really, really good. It's starring Norm Lewis. It's a Pulitzer Prize winning play. So you start with, good material. And it actually got a Tony Award in 2020 for Best Revival. So it's just recommended. I would see that. And on top of that, they're supporting KBLA. So, hey, it's a win. Houselessness in LA. Okay, what do we do about it? Well, we elected Mayor Karen Bass, which was a good start. I think a lot of people keep pointing out that, yes, we need to hold the mayor accountable, and certainly she pushed through a large amount of resources in this current budget. Despite progressive critiques of that budget, she was able to push through a huge amount of dollars to address the issue. And without those dollars, it's going to be hard to make a change. When you're talking about housing, you need housing. When you're talking about unsheltered people, you need shelter. That means spending money. Lots of money if you're here in LA. There's been critiques of the program, the Safer Inside program. And as I mentioned before, the mayor had the black press on a call, and she talked very candidly about some of the challenges that they've faced in certain neighborhoods. And Councilmember Nithya Rahman talked about this when she came on the show, that if you have an unhoused person living in Sherman Oaks or wherever they're living, and you want to take them into a hotel, that's going to cost way more than if you have an unhoused person living in South LA and you move them into a South LA hotel. But most of the people, activists, workers from CBOs, that community-based organizations that deal with the unhoused, say that people do not want to leave their communities. They don't want to be shipped to Sherman Oaks if they are from South LA, and they don't want to be shipped to South LA if they're from Sherman Oaks, which clearly is happening at least it was before the Bass administration. In any case, the mayor was really clear that in some of the situations that they encounter, they aren't able to secure hotels right in the neighborhood or the area where that encampment is, and so therefore the residents are moved to other neighborhoods, and that's created unintended challenges. The fact that many of these hotels do not yet have motels is really what they are. They call them hotels, they motels. They don't have the supportive services yet. The fact that there's an article now, currently I think it's in tomorrow's Times, about how there are people that just refuse to go into housing, although the mayor points out that the vast majority, huge percentage, are saying yes to getting out of a tent and into a hotel room. Those that don't, it's the same complaints we've been hearing for years. They don't like the rules at the hotels. I mean, the fact that somebody reportedly overdosed in the middle of Safer Inside and had to be saved by the mobile clinic that goes with the Safer Inside workers is an example of how effective the program is, even though it's not perfect. We can't get to perfect without more housing, without the city investing the money to buy those hotels, build housing, particularly in areas that, malls or underutilized office space. We can't get to perfect until people stop the not in my backyard stuff. We can't get to perfect until the mayor's able to take the list that she got from all these city and county agencies and start turning those units of empty housing inventory into permanent supportive housing. And it's not going to happen overnight. Now, we are seeing a change. She's so far Safer Inside has got 1,200 people off the street. That's a lot of people. But we've got, 40,000? 1,200, 38,800 to go. And that's assuming that we're able to continue to get people off the streets faster than they're falling into houselessness. Let's go to Morris, calling from Inglewood. Good morning, Morris.
Hey, good morning, Dominique. You just stole my thunder. These brick and mortar places are closing down left and right. Amazon just kind of trying to change the playing field here. And like you take Market Street in Inglewood, for example. And I'm thinking that some of these brick and mortar places that have been shutting down, these shopping malls, like you mentioned, it'd be a lot easier to convert those than it would be to go out and build new stuff, new housing or whatnot, yep. Which is, kind of expensive. Just an idea. And I think if we're going to help people, the first thing we got to do, they do this in the Netherlands, we got to get them housing first. And then we can go ahead and help them with some of the other stuff, But these places that are closing down, these shopping malls, brick and mortar places, they can be converted to, in the city, they got the power through eminent domain. They just go on up in there and maybe pay the owner a little money, fair market.
Or fair market, which is not a little. But no, I mean, I get what you're saying, Morris. I think that when you talk about the Netherlands, though, I believe they have universal health care, if I'm not wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they do. I guarantee you they have a better health care system than we do. And more generous social services. So, I hesitate to use that as an example because what we've seen with people getting into that revolving door of housed, unhoused, is that they didn't have the support they needed to be able to stay housed. If you just put someone in a house and say, oh, we hope you're going to be okay, it's a lot of times it doesn't work out because maybe, and that's been one of the complaints about Safer Inside, where there's not enough supportive services in place yet, or the people go into the hotel rooms and they don't have groceries or toiletries. And the mayor was talking about that on the call, creating these welcome baskets or packets that they can give folks so that they at least have toiletries, grocery, the things you need when you move into an apartment, which ain't cheap, right? Plus supportive services.
That's very important.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's right. They're not getting keep in mind, we don't invest in, like we used to invest in people. The reason why we got our homeless situation now is we've closed a lot of our state hospitals. We just don't invest like we used to invest in our education or whatever. And you were talking about the healthcare. We're probably the worst in the world. We are the worst in the world in terms of industrialized countries with healthcare. So, they do need more support system, but we can deal with this if we get the right attitude, if we got the right spirit, and with the proper investments. I think the president is doing a good thing, Mr. Biden, by trying to get these corporations to pay at least 15%. When back in the late 50s, they paid 91% when we were doing our highways in terms of profits, 91% of the profits when they got to a certain thing. So if we start investing again in our infrastructures and our schools and our people, we'll be all right, Dominique. But we just got to change our spirit, have a little hope, have a little faith, and have a desire to want to do it. And we can do it. We can do anything we want to do.
Yeah. So anyway, and I think that's why these conversations are important, because that's how we start to change what's considered normal, what the possibilities are, what we're talking about does impact lawmakers, influencers, and others. And yes, the Netherlands apparently does have free health care, but it's universal health care. But all adults who live or work in the Netherlands have to buy insurance. But it's like a couple $100 a month or something, even less than that out of pocket. So it's somewhere in between where we are and where we need to be. Always great to talk with you, Morris. Morris called me at 800-920-1580. You can too. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
You know those cigarette butts that you see every day? They're made of microplastics and they line our streets and waterways. On California beaches, they're the #1 plastic you'll find. Over 35 years, cleanups have collected millions combined. But no matter where you see them, they're all getting smaller, eventually leaching into our food, our air, our water. The tobacco industry's to blame for all of the harm that they do. For the harm to the people we love, and the harm to you too. Learn more at undo.org.
Attention LA seniors and persons with disabilities. You may qualify for generous discounts on your LADWP bills through the Lifeline program. It's easy to join Lifeline, and your enrollment may qualify you to receive a new energy-efficient refrigerator and valuable rebates up to $225 on room air conditioners through the Cool LA program. So if you're a senior or have a disability, sign up today at ladwp.com/lifeline. That's ladwp.com/lifeline.
In our community, mental health struggles can sometimes go unnoticed. The suicide rate among Black youth has risen faster than any other ethnic group. Only 1 in 3 African Americans who need mental health care receives it. African American women are only half as likely as their Caucasian counterparts to seek professional mental health services. Even those who guide us spiritually can sometimes face their own challenges. 45% of pastors say they've experienced depression or burnout to the extent they need to take a leave of absence from ministry. As people of faith, it's time to acknowledge it's okay not to be okay. You can pray and get help. Visit normalizehelp.org for more information and resources. Join us in raising mental health awareness in our community. Funded by the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health and the Champion Counseling Center of Faithful Central Bible Church.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
So I guess the main point that I'm bringing up, and we're going to keep talking about this unhoused situation because it is at the top of the agenda. Clearly it is, because LA voters voted in Mayor Karen Bass against 180 $8 million or something in campaign spending by her opponent. Because, and one of the main reasons is because I believe we felt confident that she would be a person who could make a difference. And she has a track record to prove it, right? The other thing about our mayor is that she will tell you the truth, even if it's not the spin, even if it's not the press release. And they're starting to address some of the complaints that I've heard from unhoused people who call me on this show and when I was hosting the front page and even when I was hosting Street Science. That long, people have been calling me, and it has to do with the rules in the hotels. Well, the Grand Hotel, for example, doesn't have a curfew anymore. And the mayor has said that she would like to implement consistent rules for all motels that are part of Safer Inside. They all have the same rules so that people know what to expect and there is a consistent experience, even if it's not an ideal one. The other thing is, this is new. She put it in place because it's an emergency, so they're tweaking. And that's why the mayor was talking about putting together welcome packets, working with community-based organizations, and finding other dollars to make that possible. And it's normal to me that some places are going to be tougher than others. El Pueblo, apparently in downtown LA, Safer Inside has been there, but there's still tons of tents. I was just there, driving through there. I had to go somewhere other twice in a row. And I was driving all through that area, and it is, tent city. There's a lot of folks there. And yet, the mayor's office says they've taken quite a few out of El Pueblo. Disgraced racist council member Kevin De Leon is over that district, and he claims to be the greatest savior of houseless people, but that's been one of the most problematic areas. Now, he claims that it's because folks get dropped off at Union Station or they're let out of jail nearby and they just gravitate to that area. He also declared it parts of it a 4118, meaning a no camping zone, which has been a failed policy that has been part of the city for a couple of years now. And what it was is really a response to the demand of merchants and some residents that they get the tents out. And it's a way of doing it, even though theoretically they're supposed to be offering people housing before they make the move. In many cases, there was no housing. They got a voucher that no one would take. And so that's the difference with Safer Inside, is that when they go and they go and talk to the folks in these encampments, they actually have real life rooms available. It's not just a voucher or here, now you're in a shelter with a worker who's eventually going to get you somewhere. No, they get them inside right away. They're working to build out supportive services in those motels. I hope that the mayor is successful in her stated goal of buying more of the hotels so we can control the quality of life, the quality of shelter that we're providing, services, and save money, because many of these hotel owners are gouging the city, and they've been doing so for a long time. Love to hear your thoughts on this and anything else on your mind. 800-920-1580. I'm Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
We begin top story with late-breaking news.
Is it going to succeed, yes or no?
I think it's going to succeed. It's going to succeed.
Can you believe it?
Y'all did it!
KBLA Talk 1580 is about to celebrate its second anniversary on Juneteenth, and no terrible twos around here. We couldn't be more excited about all the good news we'll be announcing soon, including the launch of some new shows to keep giving you more of what you've been looking for. Come on! Smart radio for smart people. Hey, it's our celebration, but you get all the gifts. We'll be giving away fresh merch, swag bags, and a chance for you to join the private invitation-only, star-studded music and dance till you drop, food and drink galore second anniversary celebration. To stay in the know about the second anniversary details, download the KBLA Talk 1580 app right now. Don't miss out on your chance to be a winner. At KBLA Talk 1580, when we come forward, we're bringing everybody with us.
Happy anniversary, KBLA!
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Hey, yes, I'm always thinking that we are like a community think tank at KBLA Talk 1580. We come up with solutions, we talk about what needs to be dealt with, and we make it plain to each other as well as to elected officials. Let's go to Randy, calling from Watts, California. Beautiful Watts. What's up, Randy?
Yes. I've been listening to you for the last hour or so. I'm down here on Avalon and Alondra, and I'm looking at issues that you're bringing about. Especially, we got these 300 young people that got to be moved. Why are these young people, in such a criminal way? The schools have failed them. Their parents have failed them. Society's failed them. The judicial system's making money off of them. And there's not going to be much hope for these. There's not going to be much hope for these people. Then I'm sitting there eating a breakfast. I used to be in the transportation industry for 50 years.
Wow.
I passed one of my. Yeah. If you looked at Randy Thomas Trucking, you see I started in '71, and we ran containers out of South Central from '71 to 2009. I was pushed out of business because our trucks were too environmentally unfriendly to the air. I passed the yard that I used to rent. I used to have about 75 or 80 loads in there, right? A Vietnamese company out of AKA Saigon, Ho Chi Minh City, is in there now, Pack 9. The drivers don't even speak English. They're moving their own goods, and they're acting as if this community's there now. Those were all black drivers when I was in the business. That's not a part of it. Then I go right around the corner to Main Street. I was telling Miles, I just counted about 35 to 50 motorhomes of homeless, and 2 of those guys used to be drivers.
What?
And they're living on the street.
What?
You know.
Well,
Yes?
I mean, that's crazy. That is crazy. I don't begrudge immigrants or whoever their business is, but to me, if you're going to come into a primarily black neighborhood and demand these environmental changes, there should be some subsidies to keep businesses like yours going. You can't just demand a change and then say, okay, well, too bad, you're out of business, and all of your employees can go live in motorhomes. And those motorhomes that you're talking about are run down, broke down, and terrible.
And one of those motorhomes was mine that was stolen.
What?
Out of a storage yard. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and we're suing the storage yard, and they did a crime in it. They found weapons and flak jackets in a 1977 GMC that had a value of $50,000. Total loss. Our leaders are dropping the ball, and they're dropping the ball because they're getting paid. And like you haven't met me. You've seen me. You don't know who I'm watching out for you.
Thank you.
I'll meet you one of these days. But I've been, for the last 10 years, telling from here in Bass all the way down to Garcetti, we've got to give these children better hope. And we need to look at the corporal punishment that we had in our junior high schools and high schools to bring about a responsibility of respect and right and wrong.
Well, we're going to agree to disagree on that, Randy, because I think it's resources that's needed. They're already getting corporal punishment. They're getting beaten at home.
Yeah.
They're getting put in jail. I think it's resources. You need to feed them, give them opportunities, give them arts, culture, give them counselors, people that care about them before they get, hopefully before they get into the system and definitely after.
But our community, we're losing the grasp of our community. I would say in 20 years, I won't be here, but in 20 years, there'll be no evidence of a black community in Watts.
Well, I hope you're wrong. But, I hope you're wrong, but look at Egypt. I hope you're wrong. Thank you, Randy. Appreciate the call and all of your institutional knowledge about the city of Los Angeles, the community of Watts. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton, and here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Vice President Kamala Harris is making history by delivering the commencement address at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point.
In the face of all these challenges, America plays a singular role of leadership.
The vice president became the first woman to deliver the commencement address at the Academy. This July will mark the 47th anniversary that women were first admitted to West Point. All the graduating cadets at Saturday's ceremony were commissioned as new second lieutenants in the U.S. Army. Taking a look back.
If you're a late night snacker, listen up. Buffalo Wild Wings created a menu